Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel, Episode 2. Will's not concentrating.
I was going to do a really loud intro.
Oh.
And my name's Will.
Yeah, that's what I said. And my name's Morgan.
So this is Morgan, this is Will, the one talking. And this episode is all on Fish River Canyon, which I trekked around on a trip about quite a long time ago now. Coming up to 9 years ago.
9 years. That is
8 to 9 years ago.
So, actually, well,
Morgan, roll the intro.
roll the intro, yes.
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide. 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
If you're watching us for the first time and you haven't watched episode 1, then quickly go back now, where we book a slightly rogue holiday for just under £100 for a weekend escape without even having to take 1 day's holiday away from work. £100 per person over the weekend. And on top of that, just before Morgan starts this episode, I need to give you a little push to click that subscribe button. Make sure that notification bell is rung and give us a like and pop us a really lovely positive comment below on your YouTube, well, if you're listening on a podcast platform, and it is safe to do so.
And if you like hiking with fish and rivers and canyons, then this episode could be the one for you, if that's what this episode is about.
If you don't like hiking, fish, rivers and canyons, then this episode is still for you, because we are part of a cult called Best Kept Secrets Travel, and you need to watch this the whole way through to help our channel. You'll give you such a lick. I can see the side eye from here, Morgan. Right. Oh, that was probably a bit of a loud clap for anyone listening. Let's get on with the episode, Morgan.
Well, so you obviously,
just make that assumption to our viewers and listeners.
spent some time hiking in Fish River Canyon.
Yeah.
Where is Fish River Canyon?
Fish River Canyon is a canyon, da, 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 which goes between Namibia and actually crosses the border. Part of it crosses the border into South Africa.
Ooh. And how long did you trek?
We hiked through it for a total of 5 days. It's a long enough hike that it actually, and it's an intense enough hike and complicated enough hike, that it would actually pass, for anyone who knows what the Duke of Edinburgh is, it would pass as a qualified gold DV award.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So give us a bit more of a summary of like what those 5 days entail. Like what happened?
Day one, we got up, we got driven to the edge of one of sort of, we call it the entrance of the canyon, but there are loads of different ways to get in the canyon. So we just got dropped off to one of the sections where you could walk in,
or something.
So we had a group of,
who
I think we're 18 of us. This was part of something called World Challenge. If you don't know what that is, then give them a little searchy doodly doo on Google. That's gonna stick with me now. Way too long, and I'm worried you're gonna clip that. Searchy doodly doo on Google.
And
World Challenge is,
saying it again.
And there was a group of, I think, 18 of us. I think is what it totaled to. It was either 16 or 18, and
or was it 18 start, 16 finish?
So I was 16 at the time as well. So I was actually with right. The whole group, 15, 16 years old, and there were 15 of us, and then there were 3 adults. Who looked after us, including one of them being a lot more of an expert in terms of expeditions and extreme climates. So the beginning of the day, we turned up, all got ready, got given the maps, told, right, this is our route. We planned out the route where we needed to end up.
So you planned it rather than your sort of guide people planning it?
They encouraged us to work as a team, but obviously So 2 of the adults were part of the World Challenge actual company, and they get the chance to go out on these teams. But then the one more expert guide, who actually is qualified mountain guide and everything, he's just overwatching to make sure there are no mistakes made. But a lot of the people in the group anyway had done the likes of Duke of Edinburgh, had done similar awards. So when it comes to...
So can you actually just quickly explain, you mentioned it twice now, what Duke of Edinburgh is? Or what the award is?
It was set up by the Duke of Edinburgh. Shock horror. But it was to encourage young people. I think it's under 23 is what they try and do. I might be completely wrong on the age there. People to get out, do good things, experience nature, but also to kind of give back. So as the awards go on, so the first bronze one, you do a small hike, and then you need to prove basic knowledge of being outside. But that's really to get people engaged. And the silver one's a bit of a step up.
Yeah.
You have to get more than one hike signed off, and then there's small volunteering. Then gold is a way bigger hike, way harder, more independency, and then also longer period of volunteering.
Yeah.
And that is effectively it.
Okay. So go on.
So yeah, that was day one, was planning the hike and then hiking for maybe, I think we probably did about 12 kilometers on the first day.
Okay, so decent amount of walking still.
Yeah, and really high temperatures as well. So every day by about 1 or 2 o'clock, it was roughly 30 to 34 degrees.
Oh wow,
degrees Celsius, that is.
So I take it as well, when by walking in the canyon, you're walking at the bottom and it's more flat, or you're walking in and out of...
So the majority of the hiking is sort of, we'll call it flat, but there was still you're still incline and decline. But then there were tiny sections where we really did have to sort of come out the canyon, go across the top, and then come back in. And they obviously take a lot longer. So when you're looking at the route, you go, okay, this section might take us this amount of time because it's a lot flatter. And then you go, actually, wow, look, this is going to take us a couple of hours just to actually cover what, from a sort of bird's eye views, only a kilometre of hiking, but you're going really up, down, and then going across. And because we're such a large group as well, of completely mixed abilities, that you're only going as fast as your slowest person. Yeah. Unless you push them down the hill, but we obviously didn't do that.
That makes sense. That probably would be slightly uncomfortable. So what sort of foods were you eating on this sort of thing?
So we tried to have actually quite a nutritious diet overall. I was the person who carried our big cooking tin, which was absolutely enormous. I don't think I have a photo of it. I might do somewhere. But it was, I don't know, almost 1.5 feet across in diameter. Yeah. Massive tin. I strapped it at the back of my backpack. I had to tie it in tight enough because one of the hiking days we went ding, 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 ding. Each step I took, and I think that's how I'd drive everyone insane. It wasn't my fault. I was carrying the cooking tin. So every single morning was porridge. Yeah. Without fail. It was porridge in the morning. So after 30 days straight, because I was out in Namibia for 30 days and every morning was porridge, I don't think I've had porridge since then. I think I've had porridge once since 9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Because it was such bad porridge.
Yeah.
But then when you try to use honey and different things, but then that's quite expensive and heavy to carry. So porridge was every breakfast, and we tried to sort of do tea/coffee, if possible, or hot chocolate for some people, and then porridge, and then lunches we tried to pre-make lunch as much as possible, but in that sort of temperature, it's quite hot. You don't really want to bring out packs of ham for multiple days. Yeah. So I think we tried to do that for day one and sort of into day two. But I can remember how sweaty some of that was by then. So then by day two, that was the problem, was when we're doing big days of hiking, you didn't really want a big stop for lunch.
Yeah,
you wanted to just get that done. So we did try and do more snack-based things. I think we did try and do different types of sandwiches. Yeah. Just using kind of spreads and everything. And then we tried to make dinner a lot bigger. So every dinner time we'd set up big campfire, we'd go and forage around for logs, set up the fire, get the tin going. We would stick sweet potatoes. You can stick them directly into the embers, and they're really easy to do. Yeah. Super cheap out there as well. So we're buying big sweet potatoes. Pretty heavy to carry, but in terms of trying to keep those carbs going, nutrition, and fibre and nutrition, they're really good. So it's stuffing them into the flames, and we do big sort of baked potato style things.
Lovely.
which are actually really good.
Yeah.
And we did everything. We did everything from sort of pasta, especially when we had different sources of water from like the rivers and things we could use, and with chlorine drops to clearing. We were okay bringing pasta because then you're adding a lot to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just add in different sauces and everything.
Yeah.
But generally, they weren't super advanced meals because one of the biggest factors is that temperature.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take anything fresh.
So what did you do going on to like day 2, day 3?
Yeah, it's pastas and noodles and still sweet potatoes and
Yeah. So apart from your cooking pan, what gear did you take?
what gear?
Anything specialist or?
I was probably carrying on this hike because I was one of the bigger people in the group at the time.
Small group.
Yeah, no, it really was. I think out of the 18 people there were, I think, 13 or 14 of them were girls. Mm-hmm. When you're 15, 16 years old, and I was almost 6 foot by then. Typically, we didn't have any really tall girls or anything.
Yeah.
So I was one of the stronger people in the group in terms of the actual young people going. So I always end up carrying loads of the food. I think I must have been carrying maybe 12, 14 kilos on my back. But that's because I was always carrying mainly the sweet potatoes for everyone. Yeah, so we just carried one big bag. We left our tiny day sacks back at, I'll call it base for argument's sake. Yeah. But yeah, I probably carried 2 tops and just try to wash one a day, and then you're just exchanging, or you do both in the evening. You try and go really minimal. Sounds grim. 2-3 pairs of underwear. Yeah. Those 2 tops are literally just one toothbrush, and then you'd see if anyone in the group just wanted to share a big tube of toothpaste, because then it's easier.
I thought you were going to say a toothbrush.
No, sorry. We've all got a toothbrush. Yeah. You're trying to share toothpaste. Yeah. I'm not sharing my toothbrush with anyone. So that'd be so great. No, so yeah, classic things then, just one pair of walking boots, which I was wearing. I wasn't carrying my boat shoes, which I'm not.
Yeah, we took 18 pairs of underwear.
For 5 days, hiking. No, so try to keep it minimal.
For 18
We're carrying tents, obviously, as well. Tent, sleeping bag, and roll mats or inflatable mats.
So you said it was like 35 degrees in the day. Was it cold at night?
Yeah, so when you're in Namibia, or if you're in almost any African does it, in the night it just absolutely plummets. So it'd be something like 30 degrees in the day, and then in the night it would get down to, at that time of the year, maybe sort of anywhere between sort of, I'd say 2 and 7 degrees at night.
Okay, so what
it's
did
getting
you
cold?
Yeah, what did you do to keep warm? Like, where were your underwear at once? Or?
I actually bought ski thermals out because they're really lightweight but really warm. And instead of wearing normal pajamas, because you can keep them super compact, I'd pull them on as pajamas at night because you're minimal weight and sort of volume, but then you actually stay really warm. So they're really good things to stay warm at night. And I have a good sleeping bag. We're all told we had to bring a certain season of sleeping bag, which you normally forget to do.
No, I bring a sleeping bag.
You bring one sleeping bag, no matter how warm or how cold it is, it will be that sleeping bag.
Sleeping bag, it works.
I also actually bought a bivvy bag, so on one of the nights when I think we knew it was going to still be cold, I just really wanted to sleep out one night because the wind was blowing enough so I wasn't going to get eaten alive by mosquitoes. Yeah. And I was praying that a leopard or a hyena wasn't going to come along at night, because there are any wild animal in there at night. I could have woken up and I could have had a black mamba snake or any spider in my bivvy bag next to me at night. That would have been slightly creepy. So I did sleep out at night as well. Mm-hmm. But when you start thinking of these fun things to do,
clear skies,
unbelievable. Just, I would say, zero light pollution. It was up there, very close to equal to almost at Mackenzie.
Dark sky reserve.
Yeah, but it might be a dark sky reserve. I can't remember. Yeah. But no, it's really out there. You're just so far away from. You really are so far away from true civilization that there's just so little light pollution that you just see everything, and it makes the sky feel bright. Yeah, because you get so much light from the stars.
It is being in places like that, as you mentioned, Mackenzie. It's just truly unbelievable to see the stars like that, because there are so many places, even in the UK, where it's just you can't almost ever see stars because it's
exactly. The funny thing is, because you've got a group of 18 people, you can quite literally guarantee every night at least about 4 people will have a big snore on. So I'd be lying there like, wow, look at these stars, and you just hear And you're just like, oh, lovely. And then you just hear like 3 more people just snoring along the line. Which is a bit nicer to hear than likes of just a zebra trotting through, or
sort of
I wouldn't hear that. I'd just be dead, or I'd just panic attack and die.
Yeah. So so you didn't die. So that's obviously good. You've survived so far. Where did it go wrong? Where did you make any mistakes? Both avoidable and unavoidable, or were you perfect?
No. So I think
not.
I think one of the, as much as you plan, one of the things which is really hard to take into account of is this is a group of people who we've spent some time together, mix and match, but there are people who I'd never really integrated that much with before. And when you're that big a group of people, at 15, 16 years old, there's a lot of hormones flying around, a lot of personalities which have never really got time to like gauge for. And when you're in an environment where you're sat down under a tree, it's 32 to 33 degrees heat, you're sat there for an hour.
You're trekking, you're hungry.
Certain people are dehydrated, certain people are hungry, saying, oh, we should have a big lunch now and set up camp. Oh no, do we really need to walk much further today? And we've still got 8 kilometers left. You do get a massive clash of people, especially when you've got people, a lot of the group hadn't ever been in an environment like that.
Yeah.
So when you're first exposed to it, not just being exposed for one day, being exposed for 5 days, knowing you're there for 5 days, and then you're with other people who are in the same situation, there's a lot of crankiness which builds up. And there were a few arguments. Like also one of the girls had an asthma attack at one point and couldn't find her inhaler. So I spent like 20 minutes just calming her down. Because if I can't find her inhaler, the next best thing I'm going to do is in such high temperature as well as I don't want to try and have a full panic attack on top of it, which sort of ended up happening, but just trying to calm her down. So I'd say it wasn't so much based on gear location. We never got lost in there. Our campsites were all fine. I think the only times we got cranky were actually around food, the asthma attack, which no one could blame her for. And then there was a little bit of an argument at one point just between the clash, but that sort of happened after food. Because I think some people in the group felt...
They got the energy to fight.
No, because one of the problems was I think all the food was made up, and it's quite hard, unless you do even servings for everyone, and then you know you've got some left over. There was a bit of a mess up in the portioning at the beginning, and people had already started engulfing it. There wasn't much left for like the last like sort of 4 people. And that created some crankiness. And then other people were like, oh, why don't we just like give them some of these? It's only fair that they get something else. And then that sort of like just butted heads, and other people were like, oh no, why did they get that? I wish I would have rather had that than this. And when you're in that big a group of people, it's very hard to deal with that.
And it's hard to avoid things like that.
And I think the second that one tiny group of that group starts to explode, then a larger proportion, then there's more agitation, and that can build up. I'd say that is actually one of the biggest difficulties when you do an expedition of scale.
So how would you combat that? How would you get over that or avoid that or try and not get in that situation?
Try and go with a group of people you know you mould well with. Like you and I, our argument, if we ever argue on holiday, it's over something so stupid and we end up just laughing about it. Whereas I've been on holidays or just gone and done stuff with people where it's been the opposite. We've constantly butted heads. And I think that's a case of knowing that our personalities, we just get on with it. Yeah. And you want the travel to be enjoyable. You want to enjoy the time with the people. You don't want to go away thinking, oh, we're friends, and then you leave as enemies. I'd say choose who you travel with.
Yeah.
Quite
but if
precisely.
if you're in a big group.
If you're in a big group, let's say we've gone on holiday and we've tried being a big group trying to do an adventure. Fraser Island, for example.
Or say it's like work.
Or are we talking
work people, so like people you semi-know, but not necessarily in a travel group or a big school friendship group.
I think
how do you avoid that? Or
willingness to understand their situation and try and put yourself in their shoes is pretty key, and then also just cutting some slack, knowing that if someone else is messed up or they don't love your opinion, that sort of applies to them actually. It's just cutting them a bit of slack. Like if they've messed up, you go, you know what, that's fine. I could have done that.
So the key is what you're saying is patience.
Yeah,
having patience with these people.
Because you should think you should have the mentality, oh, they've messed up. You know what? I might be the next person to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want them to be really angry with me, and I don't want everyone to hate me for it. Why would I do that to them right now?
And
just assume you're going to mess up.
And you don't know how people work and how people get over things and how people discuss points. Like, some people, they may know what they're doing is wrong, but they don't like to be told that what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, when they've clearly made a mistake, it's not going up to them and telling them that. It's just
trying to be
sort
slightly
of letting it
constructive.
go. No, it's just letting it go.
Yeah,
be
but you also
patient.
don't want something to constantly cause a problem.
No, of course. And
You know, we'd have people in the group along this month-long holiday where 5 days of it was Fish River Canyon. You'd have people who I did a lot of the cooking, and I think I made every single fire because that was just something I was happy doing. Other people weren't as confident doing it. I'd make the fire. I'd always try and help do the cooking, or some of the nights other people want to do the cooking, so I'd help do the washing up, or some aspect.
Yeah.
Or I will go and collect even more logs to make the fire, because someone's got to do parts. And I think the second, then, unless someone's feeling really poorly or has a just reason to, everyone needs to, and this is a key thing actually of working together, is actually put in your effort. If everyone's putting in 10% of the work, that's perfect. If you've got people trying to do 30% of the work and one person doing 5% of the work and another person doing 13% of the work and someone doing 70% of the work, there's going to be so much mix smash.
yeah, very much. And I feel like I've actually missed a very important question.
Yes.
Did you see any fish?
No.
What?
I actually remember on the place where we
Need that.
you just throwing your notes across the room, Morgan. On the place where I stayed in the bivouac, we were right next to a river. I remember spending a good probably 40 minutes trying to see something in the river. I didn't care if it was going to be some sort of reptile. I was really looking for a fish though, because apparently certain times of year you can catch a fish in the fish river.
So,
And I pushed out the idea saying, how cool would it be if I caught a fish and we ate fish tonight? But it was super
why
low
is
at
it
the time.
called Fish River Canyon?
I don't know. I should have probably researched that if you told me that was going to be a question. But that's obviously just come off the top of your head. And now I'm going to look up the question. And in the next episode at the beginning of it, I'm going to have to tell everyone why it's called Fish River Canyon.
Because it's not because they have fish.
You know what, Morgan? I'm going to quickly research it
Okay.
now. Why is it called Fish River Canyon? So here we are. The Fish River Canyon. It's called the Fish River Canyon because the Fish River eroded away and created a canyon. Hence, the Fish River Canyon. So the river going
the
through
river's called
Fish River. And, fun fact here, the Fish River is the longest interior river in Namibia at 650 kilometres in length.
So does the Fish River have any fish?
Fish in the Fish River Canyon. I'm sure there are fish in there. I'm sure I looked it up before. It's listing all of the animals which I knew were in there: baboons, leopards, zebras, and kudus, amongst many other. Saw lots of fish eagles, one of my favourite animals in the world, besides bird.
Nope.
I'm sure
There is one fish. in
someone
Fish
caught
River.
a yellowfish.
Okay, so there are some
Someone's
fish.
caught a fish.
There are some fish in Fish River, which goes through Fish River Canyon. Fantastic.
Now I want to. We're going to do an episode in like season 10 where we go out there just to catch fish and then we'll fly back.
I think that'd be a good episode. So, what was the highlight of your trip
Highlight
to the
Fish
River
River
of
Canyon.
Fish Canyon?
Fish River Canyon highlight. To be honest, just the scenery was unbelievable. Just insane. Just walking into canyon, going, "Holy cow! We're going to be walking, over 50 kilometers throughout this thing, seeing all these different aspects." I think that's one of the nicest things. And some of the rock formations were unbelievable. Knowing you're in areas where so few people have really hiked, that's seriously up there.
Okay.
Just sat around a campfire with 18 people, completely alone. No one else is near you. We didn't see anyone else or any other group in the whole hike at all.
So it's things like that just makes trips really memorable.
And we around a campfire. I think we secretly, bought a bag of marshmallows.
Oh, naughty.
And that on sort of day 3, day
Very
4,
naughty.
bam, everyone gets so happy. It really changed it. And one of the other things we did was right at the beginning of the trip, Tom, who was our expert for this trip, bought one of the World Challenge people called Ant a guitar on day 1 from the supermarket. It cost him something like £8.
Must have been a small.
And he was a musician, so it was like a, what they call 3/4 guitar, like Ed Sheeran used to play with, one of the smaller guitars.
And he ukulele?
No, way bigger than that. Acoustic guitar, and he then just tuned it by ear and then carried that around on the back of his backpack for the whole trip and actually brought it home.
Oh, nice.
But he played that every single evening. So he'd be around a campfire and he's just jamming away.
That's fun.
Which is really cool.
That's fun. So this is kind of an open question for both of us. So we've both been on quite a few at this point, multi-day treks and hiking. What are our best kept secrets for going on multi-day treks? Like what is how do you get through it when you're not eating all the time?
Yeah.
Where did you go to the toilet?
We had a trowel,
Nice.
and if you needed a number 1, you wouldn't use the trowel.
You just got to go away from the river.
Away from the river. If you use the trowel for your number 2s and everything else, you dig a hole, you do your business. If you use any loo roll, you have to light it on fire first. Afterwards,
before using it.
yeah, usually no. So you have to burn the loo roll after use and then fill in the hole. So yeah, that was joyful. So what's your best kept secret for tips and tricks for the trek? How to survive it? How do you get through those hard days?
Imodium.
I'm not even joking. Great tip and trick for that is Imodium. But at the same time, I found my body in those situations just tries to hold everything in.
It's
a really bizarre situation. Slightly graphic, but
it is strange. I think it's very important to stay hydrated. So having either a camel bag or which is probably too big because often on these hikes there are loads of places to get water, but at least a refillable water bottle, quite durable one that you can have on the outside of your bag.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard to pack, but the way I'd describe packing is almost having like hiking clothes and then night clothes. So when I did the Lost City trek, we had the hiking clothes. Everyone wore the same thing, bar underwear probably. That probably changed that every day or two. But everything else was the exact same because it was 100% humidity and it poured rain every day. So regardless whether it's dry or raining, you are wet. So you wear the same clothes and then you leave them out to dry overnight. And then at night I wear long sleeve clothes because I don't want to get bitten by anything. I wear a long sleeve top, like a sports top, like a thermal.
yeah,
So it'll keep me warm, keep me cool, but also
cover
me. And then normally some trackies or like a spare pair of like hiking trousers that are actually dry.
Yeah.
And then you wear them every evening and you tend to sleep in them as well to not get bitten. So it's not overpacking. Because if you're on one of those hikes and you're lugging around this huge rucksack, that you're already making it unnecessarily hard.
I think my tip as well, though, which sort of is counterintuitive to an aspect of yours, is I think it's so easy to underestimate how much gear you need for some of this. I think it's very easy to cut down gear thinking, I'll never need that. And
Gear is different to clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Like basic stuff, like, okay, boxers, for example. You'll find out, I mean, as in like warm clothes, waterproofs and stuff like that, which I'm counting in the gear category, I think it's very easy to underestimate. For example, so many people wouldn't go, oh my God, it's Namibia, it's going to be boiling hot. It's 32 degrees, 34 degrees in the middle of the day. So many people get to parts of Africa and don't go, actually, no, yeah, it's like 5 degrees at night. Oh my God, I woke up and it was minus temperatures. I've been in parts of the Namib desert and I think it was -4 one night.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy, especially for these treks where you're away from civilization. If it's a one-day trek, it's a very different thing. We're in the middle of nowhere, 5 days.
Yeah, we're talking multi-day.
Our only way of communicating outside of that zone was a satellite phone, which we didn't want to use, or a big red button, which was a massive emergency, which actually contacts people back in the UK.
Oh, wow.
But if you mispress that, then you get fined something like £30,000.
Nice.
But that's life or death button. Then with a satellite phone, which was sort of in between the emergencies of that. But I think a lot of people underestimate what they need to take.
Yeah, I think a key for as well is having walked in your trekking shoes. Like, don't just go, oh, I'm going on a nice multi-day hike. I'm going to buy some new hiking shoes because I don't have any good ones, and they'll be fine. Yeah,
is Blister City.
Yeah, that's not a great idea.
No, that is a long.
And I think on all these hikes, there are going to be moments where you're in a dark hole and you're struggling. And I think during those moments, you just need to
turn on your head torch.
That was quite good. I actually quite like that. But to go through those dark moments, you just need to go to your happy place. You need to get in the zone. So like, I still like remember times when we were doing the Machu Picchu hike and you were just like, right, I'm doing this myself. Like
I just walked off.
You just kept walking. You were completely in your zone. You were just right, I'm going to get to the top of this.
Yeah,
and you just continued to plod.
Pace.
And I think you got to expect to get there. And just when you get there, you've just got to fully throw yourself into it.
I think the second you start thinking, oh, I'm not going to make it, that is the worst thing. Think, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it slower than everyone else, or I'm going to make it. I'm going to get there different way as everyone else. You know, some people stop, start. I just like.
I go fast and slow.
I just keep going. I'm more like I'm a tugboat. I will just keep going through the pain, but not at high pace. But we will probably get there at the exact same time.
And I'm a
motorboat. It's more going to like stop. I'm very much the tortoise, and you're very much there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just.
Yeah, so I think they're my sort of main ones for.
Yeah, and just enjoy it. I think so many people get lost in like, oh my god, this is a bit of a mission. Like this is really hard. So few people. You will see me, and that's why I quite like going tugboat style. Is you'll see me just looking around and just don't stare at the ground. If you stare at the ground, you get slower as well. But you're also not enjoying where you are. You're in these places and you're in these amazing environments. So often in the middle of nowhere with no one else nearby. To enjoy it.
Yeah,
you haven't gone on that holiday just to. Some people will, but just to feel pain and stare at the ground. Yeah. Actually, look around you. Look at the scene.
It's so important to stop when there are views and you get to different points and just take in the landscapes, where you are, what you're doing. Some of the treks you do, like Machu Picchu, it's a really famous. Important.
That's the Salcantay Trail, by the way. That wasn't just the Inca Trail.
But it's a really historically important trek. And you've just got to sort of take that in and think that this has been walked for hundreds of, if not thousands of years.
Yeah. No, that was... And
we will do an episode on that as well.
Yeah, we can go through more treks in some of our bigger adventures. If people really like this episode, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell on this YouTube video to also help plant some trees as well as our channel grow.
And if you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at the BKS Travel or Best Kept Secrets Travel on TikTok, YouTube, and other platforms. And coming out soon, we also have a Clips channel. Dun, dun,
oh, you're releasing that information now. We've got a Clips channel coming out very soon.
In 1, maybe 2 weeks from now.
You'll be able to binge those. That is YouTube exclusive.
It will be YouTube exclusive season 1 clips. It's going to be clips, shorts, and everything from season 1. And it's going to be great. And it's going to come out daily.
I think also, if you're watching or listening to this channel, we are looking for people around the world with really exciting stories, whether it be a short adventure, whether it's you've been traveling for years and you're willing to share your experiences or your best kept secrets with us, then please get in contact with us through our Instagram is the best place where we've got our email, or you can use the message box there. And we might have you on the show for an interview. If you're willing, You won't get paid, but you'll be here sharing your knowledge.
And we're going to go back to the deep dives in the next episode, and we have a deep dive of, do you know, Laos.
I was about to say Thailand, but Laos.
Close, very close. Time to roll the outro.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educating, entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.